Hello, hello, hello. It is Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker, and today is Transformation Tuesday. Come on in, say hello, let me know that you are here. I am live on multiple applications right now, a couple of Facebook, both my Facebook pages, a Facebook group, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I can't see you unless you make a comment or drop a like or an emoji or something. Good morning, Sierra. Good to see you. So, you guys, just like Sierra, I can see that she is joining in from Facebook. Good morning, Kim. Joining in from YouTube. Welcome. This morning is Transformation Tuesday. For you guys that are here, can you tell me what the hi Toya, hugs, virtual hugs. Can y'all hear me okay? I saw my network looked a little weak for a second there. Can y'all give me a thumbs up or something to let me know that you're hearing and seeing me okay? Somebody. I love you too, Toya. I think you guys are hearing me okay. Can anybody confirm, please? A thumbs up or something that you to let me know that you guys can hear me. All right. Great. Sounds great. Awesome. Thank you for that. So today is Transformation Tuesday. And when we talk about transformation, we talk about change, our ability to change, the things that we may have to change in order to have the change that we desire. So that's a recurring theme that we cover every Tuesday. And last week we talked a lot about, I'm going to recap for just a minute and then we'll go into a different aspect of transformation. But last week we talked a lot about how the final transformation, that thing that you're really working for, is what you want to keep in mind, because that's your goal, that's your target, that's the destination where you're traveling. But it takes steps and choices, the right steps and the right choices each day to move you towards that big end goal. So you always want to keep it in mind. But if we're not careful, because of the size of it, sometimes it can be overwhelming, or it can seem so far off that we don't give it the right place in our thinking. So that's the end goal, right? So what you want to do when you're thinking about transformation is, like I said, keep that in mind. But each day, ask yourself, as you're making the series of choices that will go throughout your day, is this going to move me closer or farther away from where it is I'm trying to go? And it makes things a lot clearer for you. It makes it easier for you to get to the point to where you're saying good yeses, and you're also able to stand firmly on your nose, because you know that those things are in the way or will get in the way of what it is you're trying to accomplish. So keep the end goal in mind, but don't get so focused on it that it slows you down or overwhelms you. Break it down into, this is what I'm going to accomplish this quarter. All right, this quarter has 3 months in it. Each month of the quarter, I'm going to do this. Each month has 4 to 5 weeks. Here's what I'm going to do each week. And then you take that weekly goal and you break it down to your daily activities. And before you know it, you're at the end. You've reached what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because one, you have your target in mind, and two, you've got a plan that you're committed to, that you're working at day by day to get you there. And you're being intentional about your life. You're being intentional about what you're doing with your time, and all of those things combined are going to move you closer to your goals each and every day. So that's kind of a recap of the last few Transformation Tuesdays. Today, I really want to talk about a word that people don't like, and that's failure. What is your relationship with failure? When I say failure, what's your reaction to that? How do you, does it just stress you out? Is it something that you'd rather not think about? You want to push it away? If those are the types of reactions that you're having, I want to challenge you today, because our relationship with failure makes a huge difference in how far we go, how big of a life we live, how large we allow ourselves to dream, the types of goals that we're willing to go for. If you have a fear of failure, you've got to stay in your bubble, because outside of your bubble is all of these things that are unknown, the things that you may not know how to do, the things that you haven't tried before. And if you've got a fear of failure, the likelihood of you stepping out into that unknown and trying those things is pretty slim, because you can't stomach the idea of not being successful. I want to turn that thing on its head today, and I want you to think about failure differently. Okay. Failure is an experiment that didn't turn out exactly as you planned. That's all it is. It's something that you tried, and the results are different than what you expected. Failure doesn't speak to your ability. Failure doesn't speak to your aptitude. Failure doesn't say anything negative about you. It's actually the opposite. Failure says this person is willing to go for it. This person is willing to think outside the box, to try something different, to be innovative. A person who is successful has failed a lot. Typically, we fail more than we succeed. But what separates us from the pack is when we fail, we don't use that as an excuse to stop. We don't use it as confirmation that there's something wrong with us. We take it and go, what have I learned from this? I can't remember the statistics that go along with it, but they talk about the invention of the light bulb and how many times he failed before he finally got that thing to light up. That's something that we take for granted. We hit a switch, our lights come on. Now we don't even have to hit a switch. We can tell Alexa or whoever is running our households to do it, and the lights come on. But somebody had to fight against the odds and have people laugh at them and tell them they were crazy. And what are you talking about? What makes you think that's even possible? Somebody had to fight against all of that in order for Alexa to turn my lights on. Think about that. When you're really going for something that's outside the norm, most people are going to oppose what you're trying to do. A lot of times they're not doing it because they don't believe in you. They're not. Ryan, is that you? Welcome. I'm glad to see you here. Not that they don't believe in you, not that it's usually a protection. They care about you. They're concerned about you. And because they can't see your vision, they're actually trying to protect you. Right. And so when someone opposes your new great idea, don't even put energy into getting frustrated with them, because they're operating from their own limited ability to believe. You've been given the vision, it's yours. And maybe they haven't been given that same vision, so they can't see it. So, one of the quickest ways to lose your energy and your vision, welcome, Ryan. I'm glad to see you here. One of the great, easiest ways to lose that is to keep telling it to people who have a smaller vision than you, to keep telling it to people who you're wanting them to cheer you on. They're the people that you always go to, and you may have something that just blows their mind. I'll give you an example about fear and about going for it when it's in you. About a year or so ago, I went skydiving. And I grew up very fearful. I grew up afraid of my own shadow, afraid of a lot of things. And when you operate out of fear, you, like I said, your life is small. You're in this bubble, things are limited, you just won't do things. And when I started to have children, my biggest fear is water. I can't put my head under the water, swimming, all that kind of stuff. And we go on lots of Caribbean and tropical like vacations. I can only enjoy those so much because I'm limited in what I can do. I put my kids in swim lessons when they were little because I did not want to pass on my fear of water to them. I had an experience when I was young, a near drowning type of experience with me and my sister who's watching. And I don't even know if she knows this, but ever since then, I've been so afraid of water that I can get in it. I push myself to do the things that I'm afraid of, but I'm super uncomfortable. So that's one of the things on my bucket list. I refuse to leave this earth without being able to swim. So I get in the water, I get a little bit more comfortable. I'm learning, but I'm a long way. I see babies in classes pick things up so much faster than me because they don't have that fear that settled into me years ago. So, one of the ways that I have tried to shake this fearful living is to do things that just scare the heck out of me, like skydiving. So I did it about a year or so ago, and it was such a liberating experience. Being up that high, knowing that we were going 10,000 feet, and then just this guy and this little thing on our back was going to have to get us to the ground. All kinds of things went through my head. But so it's not about not being afraid, it's about not letting fear stop you. So if you can get to the point to where even though you're afraid, you can do it anyway, your life starts to open up. And that's what skydiving and hang gliding and all that kind of stuff, and even something as simple as getting into the pool where the water is about right here. I couldn't even begin to explain to y'all the level of fear that's spiraling in my head in those situations, but I do it anyway because I keep trying to expand my life and what I'm able to do with the life that I've been gifted. So don't be concerned about fear. It's there for a reason. Kim said, Daddy scared me so bad I was afraid not to swim. I hear you, Kim. So I can fear, I call it a fantasy explosion altering reality. When you're operating in fantasy, you are living in the future, which is fantasy. It hasn't happened yet. So we're just doing our best guess. And when I say explosion, and I'm talking about all those thoughts that are going around in my head telling me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You're going to die. This bad thing's going to happen. That bad thing's going to happen. What if this? What if that? That's an explosion of thoughts. And before you know it, I'm acting as if those thoughts are my reality. I'm not even in the water. I'm not even in the plane. And I am sitting here shaking, sweating. My breathing is getting labored because I've allowed that fantasy to take over and alter my right now. It has altered my reality. And so that type of fear, if we can learn, even if it's just one step, if we can learn to walk into it and to keep going and get on the other side. When I got out of that plane, y'all, I know it was at least a month. My feet didn't, it felt like my feet didn't touch the ground. I had this tape playing in my head that said, girl, if you can jump out of a plane, you can definitely do this. And that stuck with me. So when obstacles would come up after that, when I would face situations that were difficult, that kept coming to my mind. If I can jump out of a plane, I can do this. And so that's the beauty of tapping in to what's going on inside your head, because you can use that to propel you and not let it hold you back. So fear, a fantasy explosion altering reality. When you find yourself operating in fear, it's time to stop, take a step back, and allow reality to set back in, and you kind of talk yourself down. I'm safe. I'm okay. Nothing bad is happening. I can do this. I'm going to be all right. And before you know it, the breathing returns to normal. You feel a little bit less heavy, and you can start moving towards what it is on the other side of that fear. So I was talking about failure. When you fail, what happens is it is the biggest learning experience of your life. That's where we really learn, is in our failures. We get to take that thing. If we use it, we take it and we go, okay, what did I learn from this? If I do this, now I know this thing will happen. So what if I make this little tweak here and do it this way instead? So fear is our greatest teacher. Fear tells us what not to do, and it opens up our minds to start to get creative and think, how can I change this thing so that I can have a different outcome the next time? And then you learn a little bit more and you keep going. But instead, we're taught that we walk around believing that we have to operate in some sort of perfection, that we can't make any mistakes, that it's a bad thing. When you talk about your mistakes and you share that with somebody else, now you've got another brain, you've got another energy source in this thing with you, and the two of you can collaborate and talk back and forth and go, what if we try this? Hey, did you think about that? And before you know it, you've got a whole new idea of how to attack what it is that you just thought you failed at. You didn't fail, you learn. I see failure only in two ways. Now, I don't want you to allow people to use this to make you do things that you don't want to do. If you actually have a desire to do something, or if that thing is on the other side of something, someplace you're trying to get. You don't want fear to hold you back. The only real failure there is to not try. It would have been a failure for me not to jump out of that plane because it was something inside of me pulling towards that. It was something inside me trying to peel back another layer of fear. But you not jumping out of a plane is not necessarily failure at all. That may not be something that's on your radar. It might not be a desire of yours. So don't let my experience define failure for you. Failure is when there's something that you need to do or something that you really want to do and you won't try it because you're afraid. That could be a failure. And the biggest failure for me is going through something, it not working the way that you desired, and you're not learning from it. To me, that's real failure because that situation is prime and ready to open you up, to expand you, to teach you something that you didn't know before that failure. And so you don't want to miss the lesson. You take the gift out of that and you let that inform you. And now you know something, some things that you didn't know before. You incorporate that into what you already do know and how you already behave. And now you're better for it. You've grown from that situation. There is a lot of growth that's available in failure if you take advantage of it. So, two types of failure: don't try and don't learn. That's it. Other than that, there's no real failure. It's just an opportunity to learn something that you didn't know before. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys on this Transformation Tuesday is don't be afraid of failure. There's so much for you to learn. That don't get overwhelmed by the size of your desires. If you've got a huge dream, that's awesome. All you have to do is start breaking it down into little bitty actions that will help you get there. And then it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And don't operate in fear. Do not allow a fantasy to explode and have all these thoughts floating around in your head that alters your reality and keeps you from experiencing what's actually happening right now. If you guys have any questions or anything that you do agree or don't agree with, feel free to drop it in the comments. If I see it after the broadcast, I'll definitely go back and respond. If you see this later on in the day, hashtag replay and leave your comments and I'll come back and respond to those as well. So wrapping it up, I am Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker. My website is scrolling below, manifestingmiraclemakers.com. And I actually have in the Facebook group for sure, there's a message there with a link to my free online class. I hope you guys will take advantage of that. It's called Transforming Your Inner Critic into Your Inner Advocate. That class is designed to help you get ready for some of the things that we were talking about today. If you're really going to have a transformation, it has to start with your mind. It has to start with your thinking, and you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to advocate for yourself. If you've got these things going on in your head that tell you that you can't, then there's no way the transformation is going to happen. You've already defeated yourself with your thoughts. So find the class, Transforming Your Inner Critic into Your Inner Advocate, and let me know what that experience is like for you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Happy Valentine's Day, Kim, and to all of you guys. And I will see you tomorrow on Wake Up Wednesday, where we'll talk about being intentional. Y'all have a great Valentine's Day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining.